I'm off talking to people. Thank you, Brother Mark. Come on in. One of the funniest guys I know. Good morning, Layla and Mandy, Andrew, Ann, Alicia, Terry, Renee. Brother Mark, yes, I'm in bamboo. Something about bamboo I want to talk about. Other gal is in the house in Titus. Is the mic on now? Still no sound? Can you hear me? Can you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? My mouth? Can you hear the words? You can hear me now? Yeah! Y'all can hear me! Don't nobody like to be silenced. Stop killing the voiceless people. Y'all leave them alone. Leave poor people alone. People want to be heard. Come on in. Oh, I can't see YouTube. YouTube, I'm sorry. Being prejudiced this morning, being racist. No YouTube. Okay, YouTube is up. Okay. Man. I'm not sure I can get through everything today. Just so much. So much. So much. Too much. Too much. Too much, man. Y'all need to stop. It's too much. Too much. All right. I don't even know where to start today. Gonna jump right in. I'm in the bamboo today. There's a reason why. Got a couple questions. I'm in the bamboo today. Y'all know how bamboo grows. Bamboo is important. I always love nature. Nature's a great example for everything. Got a question for you this morning. Uh-oh. Did I get my title right? I'm not sure if I got it right. Okay. Now you can hear me. Music is off. I'm in the bamboo this morning because I got some questions. I think nature is the greatest example for every problem we have. I don't think we have big problems. I don't. I think we have a lot of problems. I think most of the problems in our world are manufactured and artificial and they're made by banks and people who want to make a lot of money, getting human beings not doing their job, doing a job for like being enslaved by banks. But that's another whole thing. I think all of our answers are easy when you look at nature. Nature provides great examples. I was listening to some of the CIA whistleblowers. Y'all know there are endless amounts of CIA whistleblowers, right? If people come out of an organization and they tell you how corrupt the organization is, and there's so many of them that you could replace the word infinity in the dictionary with just call it CIA whistleblower. You don't have to call it infinity anymore. We'll just say CIA whistleblower. And you know that means infinite. Everybody who comes out of the organization says the organization's corrupted and needs to go away, at least in its current form today. So I was listening to some of the testimonies, and I think it was Brother Dan Wiggum interviewing one of them. I forgot his name, so many of them. He began his video with, we need to provide cover. Are we providing cover for our whistleblowers, right? Do we want to know the truth? Are we providing cover? So it makes me think about bamboo. You know how bamboo grows? First of all, bamboo's smarter than you. Bamboo is smarter than 7 billion humans on this planet. The reason why, well, first of all, how trees grow, right? Trees reach for the sun. Why do they reach for the sun? They need the sun to live. Whoever grows the tallest, get their leaves out, their solar panels, they bring in more solar energy, means they can outcompete everybody else. Means they can get more resources. They can get more money, more cryptocurrency, energy, mineral dust, if you will, asteroid dust. So trees seek to outgrow each other. Bamboo doesn't do that. Bamboo knows its family. Bamboo is connected beneath the soil to share resources. And we know what bamboo's learned is that if you work together, you get a lot more done than if you work separate. All these other trees can't compete with bamboo. Why can't they compete with bamboo? Because when bamboo comes to town, they understand, you know what? I'm in the sun over here. It's a tree right there. I know how to kill that tree. It'll send a shoot underground, send up a little brother shoot, and that shoot will keep growing and growing and growing. It'll grow 30 feet before it puts any leaves out because it conserves all of its energy to just top the tree next to it to beat it to the sun. And how do they do that? It's because the bamboo trees, which is a grass actually, but the bamboo trees that are getting a lot of the sun, a lot of the money, a lot of the energy, let's just say they're in a place called the West. Let's just say they're in a place called the colonized world, where they have a lot of resources. When they share that sun with the bamboo shoots that are growing up in areas where there are other trees that are a little smaller, bamboo always wins. Bamboo always wins because bamboo shares the resources. Bamboo knows what family it's in. Bamboo knows its species. Bamboo sends energy through the root system to the young brother shoot, and that shoot can grow. You know, a bamboo shoot can grow 3 feet a day. 3 feet a day because it's sharing resources attached to a massive forest. Can't beat bamboo. Bamboo will beat the hell out of you. Bamboo knows what it's doing. Bamboo is smarter than the entire human race, at least the ones who haven't figured this out yet, how to compete for resources and share those resources so your species does well. If I'm in the bamboo forest, I love me some bamboo. I plant bamboo everywhere I go. I don't care what your township says. I love me some bamboo. Bamboo shares its resources. In the West, obviously, we don't. Not only do we not share our resources with the people in impoverished countries, we don't share resources with each other. We don't share resources with people down the street. Which is why we're dying on the vine. So I think that's why I'm in the bamboo forest. Ask the question, are you providing cover for your whistleblowers who are telling you the truth? Are you providing cover and energy for the people in the impoverished countries or the other countries that have less of a police state? Think about that. The reason why nobody speaks up in America is the reason why Americans are largely quiet, because America is scared, because America has a massive police state. Partially because everybody's talking about Cambridge Analytica collecting some of your pictures and who you like and what pictures you love and which robot AI booby girls and sexy guys you got on your profile. Everybody's worried about that. They're going for the who was it? The CEO of Cambridge Analytica. He was on trial or at a hearing. He was answering some questions. I posted it early. It's a good thing. You should watch it. I think the slimy corporate guy was the only one who even told any of the truth. He's the only one I agree with. The habitual lying corporate slimy dude actually was in a hearing being questioned by the criminals in government. He was collecting data perhaps to sway an election while the corporate slimy dudes through the NSA, MI6, and all of these security agencies, because they all work together, KGB, they're all buddies, friends, lovers. They share data, they share information, share technology and software. If you hadn't figured that out, you need to look back in history and wonder why all the kings have everything in common and they marry each other's brothers, daughters, sisters, cousins, everything, but they don't want to marry you. They don't want to have nothing to do with you. They just keep you fighting, each country to country, France to Italy, Italy to Russia, China to America. You don't seem to realize that they're all in league. But they can turn your microphone on anytime they want. They can turn your camera on anytime they want. They can harvest anything out of your phone, any of your pictures, any of your data, anyone. All of the private, actually sensitive data, all your bank account information, where you got accounts, all the offshore, so you got offshore accounts, they know all of that. And you're worried about Cambridge Analytica. Worried about some pictures of some funky feet and some kittens and some bunnies. Worried about what Trump is tweeting about. What I posted the other day. I don't know, why do y'all want me to be so mad at Trump? I don't hate the guy. I'm not. I don't, and I'm not going to. He's not the problem. I have no interest in what he tweeted. I had no interest in what Obama tweeted. I just kind of pay attention to things that I think might be significant. And actually, another thing I was thinking about this morning, I was looking at the news from Al Jazeera and elsewhere. I saw some obvious news. It was corrupt, and they were trying to drive how I'm thinking. I don't like people to control how I think. I don't like that. Don't try to control how I think. Tell me the details and let me figure the rest out. Tell me the facts. To me, that's real news. And that's why I watch Al Jazeera and the rest of them from other countries. I usually pay more attention to my friends' profiles that don't live in my country, because if you do that, you tend to find out what the billionaires in their country are trying to tell on the billionaires on your country about, right? Like, remember, they're all in league, right? I got my first disagreement with Putin, a whole lot of stuff. Anyway, so that's why I do it. because they don't compete over them running the world, but they do compete over telling on each other a little bit, getting each other in trouble. They'll compete over money. They'll never agree with anything other than that. And so every now and then you can get a piece of truth from Putin telling on the American government. You can get a piece of truth from another country ratting on some billionaires or ratting on Wall Street in your country. And that's why I do it. I don't watch American news at all, because all they do is they keep you in the matrix. They own all of it. All media is, you know how when you go on YouTube now and they have that little warning and it says this channel is sponsored by the Russian government, RT, and this channel is sponsored by the Arab Emirates, and this channel was sponsored by every news station in America is sponsored by America, all of them. And the ones that aren't, go away. That's just a simple fact. If you are watching it, you're tasting the steak in the matrix, right? You're allowing them to build a false narrative for you. And once, and it's so complex. It's so sick yet genius, methodically complex, because they build narrative on narrative and narrative, and they'll show you a commercial for this and that and that. Y'all see that Facebook commercial every damn where, everywhere I go. Even on foreign news, I see it. You just came to Facebook to meet some friends, find some pretty people, have some fun, join your family. But that's not what happened. I hate that commercial. I hate it. Stop playing it. But they build it all up, and it's repetitive, and they keep just drilling in your head the narratives to a point you don't even know what's the matrix anymore. You don't even know it. This is why I'm saying you have to avoid all of it in your country and look elsewhere. And then if you are somewhere else, share with somebody in another country. Because you know the things, everything that happens around the world, it's just all connected. It's all connected, but then of course you can't whine about stuff too. You can't whine about stuff. Let me show you something real quick. I know I gotta go back. I always go back to her, but this is important. Nope, not showing what I needed to. Not sure what that is. We acting up. Some of y'all recognize her voice. Hold on, I gotta fix it. Dag nabbit. I hate it when this stuff doesn't work right. They're always playing with stuff. Always playing with people's software. You have to be careful to not end up like this. This is my favorite.
Israel's parliament is now discussing a new law which would...
Man, they playing with my stuff. There you go. Are you providing cover? Or are you fake? Put up all this falsehood. And he start whining about, you know what Trump tweeted? Do you know what happened? Which is no different than the last 8 years. You know what Obama said? He said, you know what he did? What law? All the same thing. All the same thing. You know what I was looking at today? I was looking at immigration, United States, looking at the immigration, which was really important. I'm not even sure if I even have the news queued up. I don't have a ton of time today, so I'm not sure. I'll post a link. You can go back and look at it. But they were explaining, they were talking about how the kids are being separated at the border. How the kids or the families that are coming into the United States and they're being separated at the border. And they were just talking about why. First of all, let's be clear. If you separate children from their parents, leave outside abuse, right? Because we can't agree yet on what abuse is. A lot of special people. Let's just say abuse is the obvious abuse that everybody agrees with, right? Some people call religion abuse. Some people call being anti-establishment abuse. So let's just not go there. Let's just say abuse is physically beating a child, not spanking, but beating till bloody and bruised. If you are taking children from their parents in any other circumstance than that, you're wrong, period. There's no justification, none whatsoever. Crying about, you're coming into our country. People have migrated since the beginning of time. Stop whining about that. The other side, what are they whining about? Trump he's deporting everybody. No, he's not. You deported more. The last administration deported more immigrants up in the first 2 years than Trump did. Okay, let's be clear about that. But I was watching an interview and it was interesting what they were crying about. Because when adults cry, when they fake cry, children always get hurt, right? Children, right now you got hundreds of kids who are separated from their parents sitting at the border because you got two dumb, ridiculous, ignorant sides who refuse to act like adults. Why is it important if you don't live in the United States? Because the United States is the model being rolled out everywhere. You got your fake crying too. The news teaches you how to fake cry. So they were interviewing the lady and she was defending, coming after Trump. It was, where was it? Might have been NPR, Al Jazeera. I don't know what it was. And it was all anti-Trump talkers. But what they were basically saying was that, well, Trump is just, he's going indiscriminately. He's just deporting everybody. So, okay, first, yeah, okay, he maybe he has a wide net. Maybe they're deporting more. I get that. So, well, what we did is we only went after the criminals. Let that sit in the back of your mouth. But he's going after everybody. So wait a minute. So what you're trying to tell me is Trump is going after everybody and he's deporting less. And you only went after the criminals and you deported more. Do you know what you're saying? Do you basically you're basically saying that the majority of people who come in, or most of them, are criminals. What did Trump say? Same thing. You know, I tell you how it's always a lie. It's always the same thing. They always do the same thing. They talk different. The narratives on television build things up differently. But if you're saying that the Obama administration deported more, which there's no such thing as the Obama administration, it was the Citigroup administration. And today we'll find out later, it was either the Trump is working for Citigroup or the Goldman Sachs, some bank is running it. All human labor has always been about banks. Everything we do has always been about banks. But it's the biggest contradiction. And so they whine and they cry about lies. That's why I agree with the Cambridge Analytica guy. I was the only one telling the truth. He wasn't even telling the truth. He's probably lying. But he was the only one making sense. Did y'all see the interview? He stopped within the interview and he said very succinctly that hold on, let me see if I can go to this. Alexander Nix.
It's proved to be so divisive among voters and polarizing amongst voters, put an incredibly huge target on our back, and that ever since that day, although it was a great success in some terms for the company and you know its business growth, it actually proved to be its undoing, because from that moment onwards there were actors, not least Democrats and the liberal media particularly, who were just determined to destroy us, absolutely destroy us, and we became the target of a sustained press and media attack. Now you couple that with the reporting in the UK, driven largely by Carol and The Guardian, about our involvement in Brexit, and obviously that was proved to be false reporting at every level, but we were in this country then perceived to be the architects of that campaign, and we were vilified and hated for that. And you add into the mix an extremely jealous and resentful employee who sat there and stewed for 3 years.
He went on for 3 minutes. I won't take it. I'll take it right to the end. Bottom line is he said what everybody else was saying in the alternative media, which the mainstream media all works together. This is all about the Democrats and the left remaining corrupt. It's all about the other side of the Brexit argument. It's all about them finding a scapegoat. They're corrupt, they're dirty, they're foul, they're murdering people all over the planet, and they don't want to stop. And how do they not stop? Fake tears. You gave data and you affected the Brexit vote. You gave data and you made Trump president. It's the same exact thing. Put some more tears. They did it because he's a scapegoat. Nobody cares about this. Nobody cares about data on Facebook. Nobody cares about this stuff because it's useless. What people care about is their private data on their laptops. They care about the private data on their pads. They care about when they go home at night, what they say to their boo-boo kitten. And they lay next to bed and a little quiet pillow talk. They care about all the things the microphones are picking up. They care about all the data the NSA's in. They care about all the data the MI6 is taking in. That's what people care about. No one cares about Cambridge Analytica. It's stupid. And so what they needed is they want to stay corrupt. They want to continue to collect your data. They want to continue to launch wars. They want to continue to use militaries and violence as a solution because they're too stupid to talk. They don't have any intellectual capacity to have an intellectual debate with any other country. They just want to go murder a bunch of poor people and play Game of Thrones because that's all this is. It's always Game of Thrones, baby. Always. Pay attention to the details. Your brain makes passageway connections for a reason, for critical thought. Nobody cares. But are we providing cover? Bring it back to the question. What side are you really on? Are we providing cover? Are we standing by the Alexander Nixes and agreeing that this is all in narrative because they don't want to stop collecting the critical data to lie to people, to drive the media, to drive talking points, to keep things going the way the colonizers want them to go? New World Order, Agenda 21. Are we providing cover? Do we know what side we're on in any of this? Do you? Like I posted this picture. I forgot. What is her name? From The Matrix. It was deep. I was sitting over there yesterday. Sometimes I'll just go and I'll look around. The sister, I forgot her name. The Oracle. Let me go back to that picture. There's so much good, delicious truth. Look at this right here. Good, delicious truth. I'm not sure if this is going to show right. All my images are acting up. Nope, that's not showing right. Let me do this. That'll work. Nope, still not working. All right, this way. All right, get this. Look at this. Let me move this over. I got to play around because, it's not working. All right, that's not going to work that way. Do it this way. That's not going to work that way. You got the gift. It looks like you're waiting for something. You know what's going on. You know that the world is wrong. You know something isn't right. Are you waiting on your next lifetime? Why are you waiting? You know the CIA is corrupt. You know the FBI is corrupt. Everybody coming out is telling you that they're lies. KGB, MI6, that governments with militaries will always use them. You know that. What are you waiting on? Are you providing cover? Are you posting pictures of bunnies and kittens? Are you looking at posts that you think are political and you're ignoring them? I don't know if that image is showing up right. What are you waiting on? I asked a question this morning. If we have governments that can't solve a damn problem, I mean, they don't even know how to drive nails into boards with hammers. They're just dumb as a bag of bricks. They don't solve anything. They make business out of all the problems. That's what legislation actually is. They write legislation so somebody can get paid or they can get licenses off of a problem. So the problem never goes away. If we have governments, leaders, rulers, I don't like calling them governments because they're not. I either call them governments, the governments, or rulers. We don't have governments anymore. We have rulers. If we have rulers who fail to solve problems, their tool is always violence, police states, military, tanks, bombs, guns, drones, murdering people. And we live on a planet where we're having an increasing population and more and more and more and more problems. How is World War III avoidable? Somebody explain that to me, because maybe I might be missing something. I might be missing something on what we're waiting on. I'd like to know, what are we waiting on into flipping this world into a model that actually works for everybody? We know we can. We have the technology, we have the automation, and we have just enough evolved people with sentient brains. What are we waiting on? Are you waiting on your next life? We know World War III is coming. There is a date. There is an actual timestamp for World War III. I posted, they asked Putin that question. Is war, does he think a World War III is coming? And he thinks it's possible. I posted that this morning. Of course World War III is coming. There is an actual day and time that that war will start. And he started the answer to answer the question with the who was it? The who was it who said World War III? I don't know what weapons World War III will be fought with, but the next World War will be fought with sticks and stones, or the ones after that.
If you write anything on your computer.
And I appreciated the fact that he started off that way. And I do disagree with Putin on one thing. I finally found something I disagree with.
What will be the methods of World War III?
Look at this.
And we have one message just up to the topic. So will we see this third world war?
Well, remember Einstein? He said, I don't know what will be the methods of World War III, but the Fourth World War will be waged with sticks and stones.
What are we waiting on? We don't know what super weapons they have. We don't know what AI death killer robots are. We don't know the torpedo nuclear ballistic missile things that they have. We know both sides have devastating weapons, and that China, America, India, the UK, Israel can all end the world. All of them. They all have violent governments. They all have governments that utilize violence and threats as a solution. Most of their populations do not. What are we waiting on? Somebody answer me this question, because I'm missing something. I'm missing something about what we're waiting on. We know we can change the world. Who are you providing cover for? What side are you on? Are you on the side of World War III? Or are you against it? Do you have fake tears that you manufacture to keep things going? How does that end up for your children if you focus on Trump tweets? You focus on your libtards, whatever you call them. Now, I don't know what to call them now. How is that going to work out for our children? What side are you on? Are you bamboo that's grown tall in a very privileged, wealthy country, taking in all the solar energy from the sun? And we know that we can spread an arm of the human race into these poor, impoverished areas, West Bank, Appalachian Mountains, Congo, some of the different places, Nicaragua, and provide the resources for them to grow and thrive there? Or are we just cutting them off at the root system, not sharing the resources? Are we smarter than bamboo? I don't think we're smarter than bamboo. I think bamboo, well, I know bamboo has been here for almost 1 billion years. It's a lot smarter than what we are. It acts a lot. Okay, I'll be fair. No, do no species racism. In action, bamboo is smarter than the 7 billion human beings that live on this planet because they look out for each other. They grow together and they thrive and they take over whatever forest they go into. If they can reach the top, if one of those bamboo reaches the top of the canopy, the end of that story is they win. I always love to go to space and look around in space and see all the different planets that are out there. Knowing we're not alone. We are completely not alone. There's intelligent life all over space. Which is why I don't think they want people looking at space. Which is why they always make the jokes about, don't look at space. We need to take care of humans here. Y'all start clapping. No, we need to look at space. We need to understand that there are forests all throughout the solar system. There are forests all out there. And there are different type of plants, different type of trees that thrive at getting the sun. If we don't begin to work together like a planet, we will kill each other. That's a fact. That is just a fact. You're never going to get away from that. It was a sister I was looking at, something else from Nicaragua today. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Because there's just so much truth in this, so much truth in all of this. Oh, I said I disagreed with Putin. I was going to tell you what I disagreed with Putin about. Putin had they were asking him other questions. They were asking him about tariffs and sanctions. And he said, you know, this is where he lied, because he lies too. He's not any better. I have to say, probably in the last decade, I've almost never disagreed with Putin, at least what makes it into the news. I'm sure he's a dirty guy doing dirty stuff too. But I haven't disagreed with anything because he has to play it smart. He doesn't have the upper hand. He has to actually act like he's human. he has to act like he's not a psychopath. I'm not saying he is a psychopath. I'm saying most people in leadership over all governments are, and they always have been. Let me show you this. This was pretty deep. So in Nicaragua, they are protesting. It's a market that's protesting. Everywhere in the world, we all got the same
busy
problem.
Mercado Oriental open-air market in Managua, thousands of vendors and shop owners are preparing for an act of civil disobedience. A majority of these small business owners say they will no longer pay taxes or utility bills until the government commits to ending the violence that's gripped the country for the last 6 weeks.
We're not going to pay for water or electricity because that's the money the government will use to pay kidnappers and killers.
Irlanda Jerez owns a shop here.
We're not going to pay because that's the money that government uses to pay kidnappers and killers. So they're not going to pay their taxes. I submit to the court for review that government has always utilized your taxes to murder, kidnap, rape, destroy, rob, blow things up because they have militaries. The public consents with them using them. The public consents in a world where all the public, the vast majority, don't murder their neighbors they disagree with. They don't steal their garden. They got a basil patch. They don't go buy a gun and kill their neighbors to take the basil patch, let alone some coltan in another country or oil. But we allow them to have militaries. We pay our taxes. We buy all the crap. Remember we talked about yesterday? Imagine if we boycotted everything that said made in the USA or made in France or made in the UK or made in a country that spends money on its military. As long as your government has a military, they're going to use it. Why would they wouldn't do anything else? To do anything else would be stupid. As long as the citizens agree that the government can have a military, they're going to murder people. As long as you pay for them to do it and you keep fake tearing it, fake tearing the lying talking point issues that they give you through media, they're going to keep using it. This sister in the market selling some potatoes is smarter than probably 7 billion people in the world, but they have the same problem that your government does. But you picked a side and you keep cheering that side. Explain that to me. What are you waiting on? Who are you providing cover for? I'm gonna take you to another part of the interview because it's not just one type of person.
One of the organizers of the action.
Taxes.
Not everyone at the market is on board with the strike.
Not everybody at the market is on board with not paying the government monies to murder, destroy, and kill people and kidnap people. What is the other side?
Vendors here blame the demonstrators for inciting the unrest.
No way, I will not participate in the disobedience. We want peace so that we can all work here peacefully.
We want peace. We all just want to work here peacefully. I'm not going to agree with the demonstrators. That's just going to cause problems. So if the government is using the money to murder and kidnap people, and this one is saying the dissenters are the ones who are saying the government shouldn't have the money to murder and kill first people. And she's saying, but I just want peace. Can a government that kills and murders people, will they ever give you peace in the end? Is that ever going to happen? Are you seeing the analogy here? It's not even an analogy. It's just a comparison, country to country to country. What are you waiting on? Why are you still funding a government that's proven it will only use violence to solve problems? Governments that don't even have to try to negotiate because we agree with the violence day one. Why? What are you waiting on? Where's my picture at? What are you waiting on? Your next life? Why would you continue to give them what they need? Why would you continue to buy from corporations that buy the government? What are you waiting on? I don't think I'm talking to a lot of people in the room. A lot of people that I know, they're not waiting on nothing. They got their dukes up. They're all over social media, their friends and in public and trying to wake people up. But what are we waiting on? I'm gonna look at some of the comments. Kimberly says, I agree with the demonstrators. Kimberly, I agree with you. I agree. I think it's a bad idea to give money to people who kill people. I think it's stupid. I think it's, if one of my neighbors came to me, Kimberly, and they said, you know what? We're taking up a tithes and some offerings. Bob's tomatoes are just growing a little too good. Mine don't look so hot. I could do really well if I take over Bob's tomato patch. And they want to take up an offering for me, Kimberly, to go get some guns and take what Bob has, take his garden over. It sounds hilarious, doesn't it? It just sounds stupid. It sounds dumb. At the end of the day, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we waiting on? Who are we providing cover for? Is World War III unavoidable if we continue to make these types of decisions on people who have no solutions? Their only solution, which never works, is war. Is World War III avoidable? I have to look at the comments. I don't know if y'all started answering that question yet. Is World War III avoidable with governments who can't solve anything, but they always use violence as a tool? It's impossible to avoid it. We condemn our children to World War III by continuing to not be demonstrators. I'm not saying don't pay your taxes. No, I'm not saying don't do that. That doesn't work. That doesn't work in America. Some people do. Some people get away with it. Some people do it, but most don't. Why? Because we already had the police state. They already know everything. They know what you're doing, what you're not doing, because you're worried about Cambridge Analytica and not all the data coming out of your smartphone. So they come get you right away. They got the perfected police state. Both sides. There's no sides. There's no Democrats and Republicans. There is no left and a right. There are people who are waiting for World War III happily. And there are people who aren't. That's it. There are people who are okay with not being smart as bamboo, and people who are happy to be dumb. Most of my friends sound like her, not wanting to protest, staying in their cocoon of safety. Yes, Lorna, and that's the scary part, because it's not a cocoon of safety. It's not a cocoon of safety. Violent governments will always turn the violence on you. It is historical. Going back to the beginning of time, whatever the kings and the lords did to somebody else, they will always come back and do to you. It's just a matter of time. You might get away with it, but your children aren't. Whatever torture you agree with on somebody else, it normalizes it. And where does that torture always come home to? People who cheer waterboarding today, it's a good idea. Get my fake tears out. Terrorists aren't poor farmers. They're real terrorists. Putting the fake tears on. Waterboarding's a good idea. Who do you think they're going to use that waterboarding against next? Once you normalize it, they write it into law and it's permanent. Just the way Obama said he has the right to murder people with his kill list. Do you see how this escalates side to side to side? They're going to use the waterboarding on your children. Look at children. Go get a picture of your baby. Got a picture of your baby in your house? Take your smartphone out. Look at your child. Look at your grandkids if you're a little older. That waterboarding will be used on them. It's a guarantee. Now, Trump won't do it, but the next guy will do it, or the next lady will do it, because you're normalizing it now. You're allowing, I try to be careful what I say. Again, I don't like to offend people, but I like you to ask yourself that question. If you've evolved your violence out, why do you agree with a government that's trying to bring more violence in and normalize more war? If you can talk with your neighbors, if you can get together at work with people you don't even like, people who don't even like you in the office, and you guys can work together on projects for somebody else's wealth so you can get a paycheck, you're going to agree with a government that doesn't have to do that? A government that can just take a tank out of their pocket or a nuclear bomb and drop it? Sister Norma said, it's avoidable if we agree we're all humans, we can help each other, not destroy each other. We can, Norma. We haven't decided everybody's human yet, have we? We haven't decided that the others. We keep agreeing with this thought that others exist. You know what sister posted on the thread the other day, a couple of days ago? I had to chew on this. It was delicious. She just said, we're one. She said, we are one, and we are one. We are one. Do you realize that? Do you know the depth of that? We're one. We're not two, we're not three, we're not 7 billion. We are different flavors, 7 billion different flavors. Not 2, not 12, not 22. Not how many countries are there? 220. We are 7 billion different flavors, but in that we're all connected and we're one. In that whatever happens to the worst guy eventually will happen to us. Norm, I love you to death, girl. We don't always agree. And I appreciate you sticking around too, because I don't want to always agree with anybody. I don't get any smarter if people always agree with me. So I appreciate your implementation. Norma, you didn't have me thinking, girl. You put, what did you post? You said, oh, I've already shared it probably 100 times. Sister Norma said, it's more important. No, she asked the question. I'm gonna mess your quote up, Norma. I'm sorry, dear. I'm sorry. But you said something to the effect of, it's more important to be Christ-like than to be Christian. Blew me away. Blew me away, sister. You blew me away with that one. That one's been rolling through my head consistently and constantly. You just been tickling my indoctrination, girl. Tickling it. Just good. Very good. It is important, more important to be Christ-like than to be Christian, because religion, and a lot of my friends, most of my friends are atheists. I don't know if y'all know that. Most of my friends are atheists. But it's more important to follow the examples of people who have love in their heart than the people who take that love and turn it into something else for control and power. And that's what religion is used for. That's what the left is used for. That's what the right is used for. I didn't realize this, but did y'all know there's a left and right in pretty much every country? How did that happen? Is it possible that different people with different religions and different cultures in different countries with different concerns and different problems all came to a left and a right that have similar talking point issues? Do you think that's possible? Or do you think that's orchestrated? We're all being played all over the world by the same model. We aren't doing our job. Every creature on this planet, months ago we talked about every creature on this planet has a job. Human beings have a job. And it's not working for corporations. It's not working for banks. Human beings have a job. Posted a picture, was it a moose or an elk? Well, my brother Gown from Brother Gown's from Vermont. He up north, somebody's up north. Y'all, some of y'all from Canada. I don't know if that was a moose or an elk. Posted a picture this morning. I'm gonna show, let me go to, I gotta see the picture. I like pictures because pictures help me. Nature has the examples for everything. For some reason, when I look at nature, I always get this condescending look and feel from nature. I always do. Like, I look at animals, and I think animals are looking at us like, the hell is wrong with y'all? Oh, let me see if I can make this work. The moose, all day long. The moose doesn't stop. It's like the frog, like the tiger, the bear, the lion, everybody, the elk. I don't know what that is. Is that a moose? It's a moose. Okay, it is a moose. It's doing its job. It wakes up, does its job, takes care of its young, feeds its young, goes out looking for food, fight the grizzly bear, do what it has to do. Sniff, smell, where should we go? Human beings wake up in the morning and we don't do our job. We don't do our job. Do we know what our job is? I think a couple months ago, I had that question. I don't know if we got answers on that, but what is the job of the human being? Are we to be stewards of the planet? What do we do well? What do we do for this planet that the planet would miss, right? Like, people like to say that, got a lot of hippie friends. They'll say, you know what? Human beings are the only species that if we disappeared tomorrow, the planet would get better the next day and would continue to get better because we're not doing our job. We think our job is to go to college. We think our job is to get a job and work for banks, work for big corporations, which shouldn't exist. We think that that's our job. We think our job is to keep up, prop up this human labor model. Like currency doesn't exist. The only currency that ever existed has always been human labor. That's not our job. Because when that goes away, the planet doesn't care. The planet gets better when banks go away. The planet gets better when we go. The planet gets better. What is our job? What are we good at? I have a belief. Tell me if you agree or not. I think that human beings are good at two things. I think we're good at innovation. I think we're good at creativity. I think our brains work together. They're not bigger. Not bigger than Neanderthals. Neanderthals had bigger brains than we did. That's another whole delicious topic. But our brains are good at putting together neural networks to solve problems. And I think that's our greatest contribution. That, and maybe number two might be love. Those are things we're good at. We can love and we can put thought together and think, we can solve scarcity, right? Why does the grizzly bear have to kill to eat? Because its stomach is empty, like we talked about yesterday. It doesn't want to eat people. I don't think people smell good. I don't think bears want to eat us. They just have empty holes in their stomach and we fit in. But what if we gave the bear something else to fit in their hole? Think about this. You know, we could solve the problem of predators all over the planet. We can grow food for them. We can take cells and form meat and give it to them. We have peaceful grizzly bears, tigers, and lions living in zoos together because they're being fed. We know learned predatory behavior goes away when you take care of people. And yet we allow governments to act as our predators. Why? What are we waiting on? The moose knows its job. Do we know ours? Love and do all things. Yes, Jennifer. And love is the answer. Love is always the answer. It sounds cliche, but it's not. Doesn't matter the problem. Love is always the answer. Corporations are killing the earth. Yes, Lorna, they're killing the earth and we pay them to. Right? We pay them to. Everything I do, I try to look in the mirror. Everything I hear, I try to look in the mirror. Every time my mind comes to a place of blame, I try to look in the mirror and say, do I assist this? Am I okay with this? And corporations are destroying the world because I used to work for them. I still buy from them, not as much. I put my money in their banks. They're not destroying the world alone, are they, Lorna? They're doing it on my help. They're doing it on my consent, and I'm actually paying them to do it. I'm not okay with that. I don't like to, what am I waiting on? I'm not waiting on anything. I'm trying to figure out how in the world do I take more money from them? How do I spend less with them? How do I repair things? How do I fix things? How do I reuse things? How do I recycle? How do I go back to being as smart as I used to be? Like, so the thing that I disagree with Putin on, Putin said, tariffs and sanctions are the same thing. No, they're not. No, they're not. Tariffs are designed for sustainability. Tariffs are designed to keep a sustainable nation. Tariffs are designed so that if somebody tries to sell you something that's not coming from your country, they got to pay more to keep people buying local. Sanctions are something different. Sanctions, they stop that global trade, but they're temporary. They're punitive. They're designed to only hurt you for a minute because another billionaire is mad with you because they want to trade some more. Tariffs are good things because they prop up local economies and not just on the national level like we talk about, right? Tariffs should be at the local level. If you live in a town and somebody in the next town over, he's already got his mansion, he shouldn't be selling tomatoes in your town. And if he does, he needs to have a tariff put on his tomatoes before they make them to your town because you got John, Bobby, and Billy who grow tomatoes in your town. Strong local economies make for strong local regions, which make for strong local states, which make for strong local nations, which make for a strong earth. Does that make sense? Like just being simple. So that's the only thing I disagree with Putin on in probably the last 10 years that I've heard him say. Everything else he said is right. About America, about GMOs, about neonicotinoid pesticides. Everything he said was spot on. American people being lied to, they're being driven by their media, they're not using critical thought. Turn off your television, people, turn it off. What else we got? Boycott Nestle and palm oil. Absolutely. Boycott every big corporation, Alicia. Boy, all of them. Every last one of them. They shouldn't exist. They're all monopolies, you know? Ivana said you also need competition. I agree, Ivana. You need competition. And so I know what you're tickling on. I know what you're tickling on. You're going back to, I used to believe in capitalism, and I used to believe in, I was more of a libertarian, and they do got things right. They do have a lot right. Right, when you have competition, you avoid what they call it, brain death or something, and they, you know, they look at socialism and communism, and they say people aren't motivated. I agree that that is still true. You need competition, and I agree that we always will have competition. I agree that calamities are always coming. Asteroids are trying to compete for the Earth. Nature is trying to compete for the Earth. The flu strains, right? Nature has always been trying to kill us. I just think that we don't have to compete with each other. I think bamboo has it right. I think bamboo has it right that we can outcompete nature and natural disasters, climate change, and everything else if we work together. I think bamboo has it right. I think that there's some intelligent aliens out there. I think they're coming back, Ivana. I think that when they come back, if the wrong ones come back, we in trouble. We in trouble. This is one thing I don't agree with Hollywood on. I don't think when the aliens come back, we're going to get together, get some bombs and some bacteria and fight them off. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think if there's a species that can warp, you know, through space and come here, first of all, I don't think they have any interest in us. But if they do, it's not going to be a fight because we compete with each other. We're fighting over resources to keep each other in poverty. Our model is based on keeping 80% of the world's population in psychopathic creating poverty. We're all bamboo. We all got to work together. The whole universe is competing against us. There's a planet that looks like us right now, except for they got like 3 eyes, 4 eyes, and 8 teeth or something. They're competing with us right now, trying to get off of their planet. And if they learn to work together like bamboo before we do, when they come here, it's not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty at all. Who warned us? Who was that? Was that Stephen Hawkins? He was the one who warned us, and he said, you know, one of the smartest men on our smartest men of the time. Why do we ignore smart people? Why do we do that? Why do we think we're smarter than everybody? Everybody's a doctor. Everybody's a lawyer. Everybody's a microbiologist. Everybody. A man who said we shouldn't be broadcasting into space. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea because if there are aliens out there, odds are here like there'll be some that'll be benevolent and some that will be malevolent. Might not be a good idea until we learn to grow like bamboo and work together that we broadcast into space our presence and where we are. May not be a good idea. That's why I'm in the bamboo jungle today, you guys. That's why I'm in bamboo today, because I'm thinking, one, we don't do our job. We're not working together. We don't do our job as human beings, and we also aren't working together. I think we got to compete. I think competition's a wonderful thing. Yvonne, that's another thing. I appreciate you hanging in there, girl. I appreciate it. We don't always agree either, but you always add useful content, and I'm very curious about how your mind works and what you know that I don't. We have to compete with nature. Nature has already declared war on us. Like, let's just be clear. Nature declared war on us a long time ago. We've been fighting the change of everything. People migrating. But instead of fighting the reason people migrate, we fight the people that are migrating. How is that logical? How does that make any sense? Every country that I look at, well, because violence is an option. We let government use violence as an option. So they use violence against migrators. We let government have militaries. We let government convince us borders are real. And so they use it as a weapon. They don't have to talk to immigrants. They don't have to talk to other countries. They don't have to dialogue and do what we have to do with our neighbors. They just take and kill. Because laws of nature, you got to utilize as little energy as possible to collect as much energy as possible. That's why I don't blame governments. The problem is us. It's always been us. It's always in the mirror. And bamboo has the tensile strength of steel. Thank you, Jennifer. It does. Why does bamboo have the tensile strength of steel? Because for 1 billion years, it's been growing that way. It's learned how to survive in the climate, and it hasn't been changing. Bamboo is hardy hundreds of millions of years ago, and it is today. Look at the crocodile. Why does the crocodile look the same way it does? It doesn't have to change. It evolved a condition that thrives on this planet. Human beings are still changing. Why are we still changing? Because we haven't evolved to be as smart as bamboo. We haven't evolved a body that thrives in an environment like a crocodile or a coelacanth. We haven't figured out that we're not actually in competition with each other. We're a collective. And when we act like a collective, we don't have to grow root systems underneath to share resources. We have internets to share information. Ty said nature is scary. Nature is scary because nature is evolving and we're not. Nature is still getting better at its game, still figuring it out. What are we doing? Well, bring the crying baby back out. What are we doing?
What will be the methods of...
We're whining and wiping tears. What are we doing? We're looking at Trump tweets and figuring out how to fight them. We're convincing people that it's better to fight each other than work with each other. Sandra said, I volunteer at the local community garden and at the Animal Friends. I've noticed that the majority of volunteers is seniors. There's a myriad of reasons for seniors volunteering and others not. There are, Sandra, because they're older. They're smarter. They have more time on their hands. They've seen more. They have more experience. They think more about their leaving the planet, and they want to leave the planet better than how they found it. Imagine if we utilize that. Imagine if we listened to our elders again and the things that they knew. Imagine if people had enough time. They didn't work for banks and big corporations, but they worked at what humans are good at, acting like a collective. There are people saying, oh, you can't give up jobs. Everybody has to work. I don't think that's true. I think you're indoctrinated to believe that. I think human beings should be sitting around figuring out how to make the world better, not figuring out how to give banks more digits in their accounts. NASA's a bunch of liars. Yeah, they are, Ellen. They are. That's all they do is lie. They have to lie. Because if they actually let people know we should be competing against aliens, humans would work together. They wouldn't work for banks. They would work for each other. That's why I love aliens. And that's why NASA is a government agency and the European Space Agency are lying to you about everything they're finding in space. The only other organization that might have as many whistleblowers as the CIA is NASA. There's a reason why every astronaut that goes into space, the majority who are human, not the psychopaths, they come back and they say, we're not alone. They always come back, we're not alone. They always come back and they go to UFO conferences. You know, there's a UFO conference that's coming. I was thinking about going to it. I got a little scared away. I said, I'm not going to go. I'm a little scared of who might be there, but they don't want people looking up. They don't want people thinking that we have anything to compete against but nations and each other. They want white to compete with black. They want Spanish to compete with white. They want Americans to compete with France. They want China to compete with whoever China's competing with. They convince people that it makes sense to keep competing with each other, and the world's bigger than that. The universe is a hell of a lot bigger than that. They divide and conquer how it's always been. So Nicaragua, I can't even pronounce it. Nicaragua was a great example. Look at Guatemala. Guatemala just had a volcano explosion. Why aren't we helping Guatemala? Somebody drew on a sign. Let me see if I can find them. Somebody drew in the window. People just buried, bodies boiling still. And they got a few people down there and someone drew, let me see if I can find a sign. They said something to the effect of, why won't you help Nicaragua? Or why won't you help Guatemala? Help Guatemala. Look at that. Find people buried under ash. They don't have the resources. They don't have the bulldozers and the equipment to pull people out and save them in time. So now all they're doing is they're going and they're pulling out the burned bodies. Why? Because you convinced your government it can be violent. You've given your government a military. You're not sitting like the lady in the fruit market and protesting. You're paying your taxes, you're paying happily, and you keep voting for politicians who want to keep doing that. You keep buying from big corporations. So instead of utilizing the tanks and the drones and all of these things and equipment that actually save lives, they're off murdering people. Instead of using our soldiers to get down there and save people while you still can save them, we're letting the bodies bake. Is that human? Is that the job of the human? Is that the job of a sentient creature? To invest more money and to keep paying violent people to make massive murder weapons to go around the planet, murdering and competing with each other, when we got a planet that's always trying to kill multicellular organisms. Is that sentient? I don't think it is. I don't think we're listening to Alexander Nix, little creepy, nasty, corporate bastard, lying bastard, who said one thing true, that the global liberal world media is lying to you, that they just don't want to change. All they want to do is keep you stupid and keep you competing and fighting with each other. Somebody who said that? The policy makers. Somebody said policy makers. Who said that? It is about policies. It's not about politicians. I don't even see who, I can't see who said it. It's not about politicians. It's about policies. There's no left and right. They have all the same policies. Jeannie, thank you, sister. That's who said it. They have the same policies. They lie to you about talking points. They invent things for you to be scared of. And so everybody's scared of something. And they jump right in. As soon as you hear something on the news, question it. Don't jump in. Don't support it. This Roseanne nonsense, all of this dumb stuff. Don't jump into that. Question it. As somebody said this on my side. If somebody said it on my side, how did the reaction go? Am I a hypocrite? If I am, maybe I should stop being a hypocrite and stop going after other people. Maybe I'm just being played and I'm looking stupid. Jeannie said a modern day Pompeii. And there should be no modern day Pompeiis. Nobody should be, no kid should be buried under ashes at 120 degrees, slowly baking to death. Because we're off murdering somebody else for some resources, because we've let our governments keep militaries they aren't allowed to have under the Constitution, the laws of nature, the laws of any religion anywhere. Name one religion that says the government can have a military. Name one. And yet the majority of the world are religious. This is why people hate religion. They hate religion because we're hypocrites. That's why. They hate religion because our gods hate us, because we don't do anything our gods tell us to. We do what our pastors say, we do what our ministers say, and they don't even know who the God is half the time. Hypocrites. Always. What side are you on? Are there really any sides in this? That's my question. Are there really any sides? Really? Really? Are there just indoctrinated narratives that lost people are cheering? People who believe the media that's always lying to you, that's run by a government, that's paid for by big corporations that we buy everything from and we work for. Can World War III be avoided? Absolutely not. Our model, our makeup, and the mindset and mentality of most people on this planet is habitual world wars. That's why it can't be avoided. We're not only on the path for World War III, we're on the path for World War IV, V, VI, VII, until we're extinct. Because we're not evolving to work together like a collective. We're evolving to continue to fight and rob from each other. While it's illegal for you to do it in your community, it's 100% legal for government to do it in every community. Somebody tell me how that makes some sense. Because maybe I'm missing the boat somewhere. Maybe I'm off and wrong. But how does it make any sense that we're continuing to let them do what we know better than to do? I don't know. Boggles my mind. Hopefully it boggles yours as well. We can utilize the resources of the world to save people. Or we can utilize the resources of the world to murder people. And I just think that maybe it's time we go back to being smart as bamboo. Maybe bamboo doesn't make nukes. Maybe bamboo doesn't compete with the other bamboo. Maybe bamboo works together. You know, if you take bamboo and the roots are divided, and the roots grow on top of each other like this, they reconnect. Imagine that. And is that not our case? Did we not used to be a world collective that worked together? Multiple tribes all over the planet, all different types of cultures that were significantly more peaceful than the governments today, all of them. And the colonizers wiped all of our tribes' peaceful nature because banks had money to make. Robber barons and oligarchs had a construction. Game of Thrones they had to work on and build up. We were all bamboo. We were connected once. The whole world, we have ancient civilizations that were connected all over this world. We have evidence of it everywhere. Every continent was connected. Evidence of even flying ships, vimanas. But we're like bamboo, we were broken up. We were sectioned out. We couldn't take resources from the wealthy nations and take care of the poor ones. We take resources from the wealthy nations to murder the poor ones and steal what they have. And we call it Christianity. We call it religion. We call it sentient behavior. When bamboo's divided and their root systems connect, they reconnect. The internet can reconnect our root systems, you guys. And I'm just thinking that we need a new world order, but not the world order that they're thinking about. I think we need a new world order based on love, empathy, intellectual behavior, discussion and dialogue, not murder and the consumption of resources, stealing it, and waiting for some aliens to come and kill everybody. Waiting for an asteroid to come to destroy everything. Waiting for the flood waters to rise again and wipe us out because we don't deserve to exist, because we're continuing to compete with each other. I think it is time for a new world order, but I don't think it's time for the world order they've been designing. I think it's time for the world order that comes with you making friends in other countries. You seeing the contradictions, you seeing how they're playing you, us to no longer act like we're children and realize that we are being played, all of us. We're all hypocrites and we don't want to be anymore. Listen to the lady in Nicaragua. Boycotting because she can. She lives in a nation that allows her to boycott in a certain way without throwing her in prison. Maybe we need to do the boycotts that we can do that work in our country or our lives to stop fueling the corporations that are cutting our root systems, because that's all they're doing. We used to be bamboo. We used to be smarter than this, but they cut all our root systems so we can't share resources. The internet can reconnect. This is why I critique Facebook all the time, social media, people. Y'all could reconnect us, man. Woman, whatever, CEO. Y'all could fix this. But we keep supporting the politicians, the leaders, who are using social media to cut more of our root systems. That's what I see when I see the Facebook commercial. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see it as you logged on to meet your family and your friends and see how they're doing and what's going on and all that nice stuff. I hear something completely different. I hear that we're going to section you off and divide up the bamboo so you can't share resources, so you think alike. We're going to keep you ignorant in your own little groups, in your own little religions, in your own little indoctrinated sections, so banks can continue to make all the money off of human labor until we roll out AI and use that to make all it, and not care where the humans go. First, we all need to understand that we are all important and have natural gifts we could all enjoy each other's gifts. We could, Alex, and we were all, I think, given gifts. Every human being, every life, everybody buried in Guatemala under ash is important as everybody else. American lives don't matter more. White lives don't matter. Black lives don't matter more. And everybody knows that at your core. Yemen, people in Yemen aren't dogs. How many people just drowned in Yemen trying to get out? We do got to tap into something deeper, people. We have to tap into something deeper. We have to go back to being smart as bamboo. We got to stop letting politicians and leaders make us look dumb. Got to stop agreeing with the divisive comments and the divisive narratives and the news that's always making fools out of all of us. We have to choose a side. We all got gifts. And your children got even better gifts, which is why they want them in chains. All sides, all banks, all the time. What are you waiting for? I think that the Oracle certainly said it best. Is you got the gift. You do. Everybody has a gift. And they're just convincing everybody to stay divided. So I don't know. I don't know where we go from here, people. I appreciate you guys joining in. That's what I'm thinking is bamboo. I've got to get running. Appreciate all your information and your feedback. I appreciate for you guys. I appreciate you guys being a part of something I think is an alt world. I always call it alt something. I think it's alt world. Our model doesn't work in any way, shape, or form. It's all gotta go. All the governments, they all gotta go. They don't get to exist if sentience actually is in anybody's brain. We need an alt world. Anything, everything is better than today. Everything. I'm not gonna preach at you. Not gonna preach at you. I'm just gonna say we're in the matrix. We gotta get out. We gotta go back to being as smart as bamboo. Love y'all to death. Y'all have a fantastic day.